Welcome to another episode of Life at Peace. So this time with me I have my dad that you can see right there, PJ. He's going to tell you all about himself in just a moment, but we're continuing with this series of peace and creativity in the relationship between the two, and how when we create as image bearers of God, we're actually emulating his character in the earth. And so PJ is my bonus dad. He joined our family about 7 years ago now. Yeah. And he's just been wonderful. He's an awesome example of a godly man. He always keeps us laughing. He's a big goofball.
As dad should be.
Yeah. He's also very sweet and kind and wise, and he really does a good job of leading and carrying the family. So PJ, let's just start off really easy.
Right.
Who are you? Tell us about yourself.
I'm PJ. No.
Good job.
Let's see. Who am I? I grew up in Long Beach, California. I was a deacon's kid. Mm-hmm. You know, they got the preacher's kids. I was a deacon's kid.
Yeah.
I was one of those deacon's kids that had to be good all the time because my father was one of the outspoken deacons who didn't care who heard what he said. If he saw something that needed to be addressed, he would he'd speak on it. Mm-hmm. And so we were always under scrutiny. We had to always make sure that we were being good ourselves.
Yeah.
So grew up with that. I was the musician at church. Mm-hmm. And then as I grew in the Lord, I became a deacon and Sunday school teacher and working with mics and all that stuff. I was just the do-all guy.
Yeah.
Car enthusiast. My dad got me into cars, and I ended up working for a bunch of aftermarket race companies that build aftermarket parts for cars. I was a writer for few car magazines for a while. Wrote for American Honda for a while, and just trying to do what I can do.
Yeah.
And moved. Then I dated your mother when I was 19. Mm-hmm. She was 17, and then we broke up. I broke up with her. I don't remember why. I was just, you know, there's a song that says, I'm 18, I don't know what I want. And that's basically what I was. I didn't know what I want. Yeah. I didn't know who I was, what I wanted to do. And I'm just like, I'm going to college. I'm like, I can't be with the high school girl. So or whatever. I don't know. I just broke up with her. But thankfully we stayed in touch the whole time. And one day we just started chit-chatting on Facebook in August of 2016, and we haven't stopped talking since.
Yes.
And,
Clearly.
Yes, and I ended up moving out here.
Yeah.
Something I thought I'd never do was leave town and marry an ex. There's two things I never do, move out of California or get back together with an ex. And I told God I wouldn't do that. God's like, oh, yes, you are. So,
challenge accepted.
Yes, basically. So that's what I ended up doing, and ended up here. And just throughout it all, I just look back and just to see how God has blessed and guided. And, the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. And, so, when I'm in it, I think I'm making the steps, I'm making the decisions, and I'm not.
Yeah.
So it was His will that I'm here. So I'm thankful that I'm here. And,
exactly.
I'm very happy.
Awesome. Yay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is a busy man right here, as we're about to get into that a little bit. But PJ is so naturally he's very curious, a DIY, do-it-yourselfer type of guy. If he doesn't know how to do something, he'll figure it out, or he'll do it as he goes. One example of this recently that I can think of is he built his own computer. So he works from home every day, and the computer he works from is the one that he put together himself. So just very impressive, and just very, at least to me. If you're listening to this and you're more techie than I am, maybe you're like, oh, whatever, that's no big deal. But PJ, what I want to ask you is, how did your upbringing kind of shape this in you, and did you observe anyone in your life growing up that encouraged you to be creative or just how did you get that way?
I think it was just in the family. I got my love of cars and being a DIY kind of guy from my dad. My dad, he was always doing things and fixing stuff. If it needed to be fixed, he fixed it. Well, things were simpler back then.
Yeah.
Cars were simpler back then. Appliances were simpler. I remember one time the TV went out. Now, me, I wouldn't even try and mess with the TV to try and fix it.
Yeah.
But the TV went out. And I just remember just spending hours sitting with my dad, with him and another guy from church, and they had to back off the TV, and they had their meters on it and stuff and soldering, and they fixed it.
Wow.
And I remember when my dad retired, he retired at 55.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah. Back then you were able to do that.
Yeah.
He retired at 55, and we needed a roof on the house. And he did it himself. Never did it before, but he did it. And that was the first time I saw my dad wear sneakers. Because
okay, I thought you said he was working on the roof with his dress shoes on.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, that was why he bought the sneakers, because he almost slid off the roof with loafers, trying to walk on the roof with loafers. And so he went to the store and bought some Chuck Taylors and used those and just completely destroyed those sneakers doing the roof. There was nothing left of those sneakers when he was done.
Yeah, I bet.
So my dad did a lot of DIY stuff. My sister, I have two older sisters, Cheryl and Pam, and Cheryl was fashion. She was always into fashion, designing dresses and making her own dresses. That's because my mom would make her own clothes. She would make dresses and stuff for the girls, and so my sister got into that, and then she got into modeling, got into fashion designing. My other sister Pam, she was a really good in art. She could draw stuff, and
I don't think I knew that about her.
Yeah, I don't think I told you about that. She was doing that, and then now she makes clothing. She makes dresses and stuff. She used to make dresses for her daughters, and now she does art and she sells on Etsy and stuff. And then Cheryl, Pam, and I both played piano at church, and so I guess the creativity just runs in the family.
Yeah, just all around you.
Yeah. Just learn to work it, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. Did your mom do anything? Like, she have any crafts or hobbies that she liked?
Besides, she would do the sewing. She would do a lot of that. But that was the biggest thing with my mom was she made clothes, and I remember just seeing all the patterns and stuff you could buy. Go to JCPenney and buy a pattern for a dress and stuff. Yeah.
Wow. So family of hardworking people over there. I mean, like, wow, you really can't be lazy if you're gonna go after your creative pursuits. Which that brings me to kind of shifting over into the creative space as we know it today. So PJ is the YouTube pioneer of this family. He is the first of the four of us to have started his YouTube ventures, and he started in 2017? 2019. So like 5 years ago, PJ took this leap of faith and decided he was going to start his first YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I say first because he now runs 3 of them, which we'll talk about in just a moment.
Yes.
But PJ, what made you want to do it?
Basically, I don't know, I don't want to sound arrogant, but maybe it does. I just didn't like what I saw. And I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I made my first YouTube channel is called The Gearhead Lounge. Don't roast me on the name. I
think it's a good name.
Okay. Yeah. Because they were all. It took me a while to find the name because all the other names kept typing in.
Yeah.
Well, that's taken. Oh, that's taken. That's taken. That's taken. That's taken. That's taken. And so I was trying to I'm a gearhead. For those who don't know, gearheads are guys who are into cars, right? And I wanted it to be a place where people can come and just binge automotive content.
Yeah.
And quality stuff. And so I was like, where do they do that? At a bar, in a den, in a cave, in a lounge.
Cave.
So, yeah, right. Like a man cave. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought, Gearhead Lounge, and so I was on YouTube, and I was looking for the history. I was looking for the history of a certain car, of a Dodge Charger. And my mom had a Dodge Charger. And I just wanted to see a video with some good info on a car that I really liked. And what I saw was crap. To put it lightly, I mean, it's, the worst one was some dude sitting in a chair holding a book. And it's like, okay, now this one right here, this is a 68 and a Dodge Charger here, and then here, and I'm like, is this the best? Is this what they can offer here?
Right.
And so I was just like, no, there's got to be something more to this. And so I just started. I started off just by going to car shows because I also wanted to interact with people and. Well, in a sense, kind of interact with people. You may not know this, or you know this, but you guys may not know this, but I don't really look it, but I'm really an introverted person. I like to be to myself, and I don't know why I even thought to do this on my own, but I went to car shows, and like Cars and Coffee and stuff like that, and I would just shoot footage of the car show, and then I'd pick like 3 people who had an interesting vehicle and just tell me your story. Just give me a couple minutes, tell me about the car and why you built it like this, and I had to it took me a while to just I had to be at the show for a few minutes to kind of psych myself up to go talk to somebody. And sometimes the cars would, I would be to the point where the cars were starting to leave. I'm like, I need to talk to somebody. So I'm like, okay, let me force myself to go do this.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I started writing scripts on like the history of the Dodge Charger, and I would do my research. It took me a while to do it because I'm just slow like that, I guess.
You're thorough.
I guess so. I'm thorough, but I can stand to be faster. In my production, I was like I told you before, I used to be a writer for a car magazine, and I shared an office with a good friend of mine. His name's Scott, and I wrote for Vet magazine. I was assistant editor at Vet magazine. He was a technical editor at Popular Hot Rodding magazine. And part of our jobs is that we had to write articles on features on people's cars. And at least this part of my job, I'd write features on cars. And I also had the occasional technical article or two to write. And then same for Scott. His was more technical, being he was a technical editor. Right. He would do a lot more tech stuff. But I mean, I'm sitting here, he could just rattle out a story, just done. And I'm sitting here, in the beginning trying to, it was the best of times. Once upon a as far back as I can, no. He's like, I'm on my 3rd article, I'm done. So this is how I am. It takes me a while to kind of get started, but then once I get started, then I start just rolling. But just getting started, it takes a minute. What was the question?
I was just asking, how did you get into YouTube, or what made you want
sorry.
What made you want to do it?
And part of me getting YouTube is that I can just rattle on. It's just like I did. I started writing the script, and it took me a while to write it, but I got it all together, and like I said, I'm thorough. I research. And I try to confirm things like with other sources, at least with 2 other sources, 2 or 3 other sources, and call it the Bible,
Right.
Get a witness, collaborate with 2 or 3 other witnesses. So I needed that because the people will eat you up on YouTube if they don't agree with you. It's so easy because you don't know where they are.
Right.
They could just get on the keyboard and just say whatever they want.
Yeah.
No
consequences.
You can't do anything to them because they're on the other side of the keyboard somewhere in YouTube land.
Yeah.
And so people are brutal at times. They'll just so I want to make sure that my stuff is on point.
Yeah.
If you got something to say, I want you to be wrong.
Right.
So
well, actually, according to my research.
Yeah, exactly. And I've done that to a couple of people.
Yeah.
So I just try to research and come up with things and come up with a good story, a good history, and I put some music in the background.
Yeah.
And just make it a really good production. And I think I've improved a lot over the years of making them.
Yeah.
But that's how I just got started. I tried to create what I wanted to see out there on YouTube, because I wasn't satisfied with what I saw, and I really thought that it could be a lot better. And I'm the kind of person that if you don't know the truth, I want you to know the truth. If you're doing this and it's wrong, I want you to know.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to hold my tongue because a lot of people don't care, and sometimes it doesn't matter.
Right.
But I'm like, well, you could do it like this.
Yeah.
So I think that's just me coming out in YouTube.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Just kind of relating to you on the writing thing. I'm a slow writer also because I'm always trying to get the intro just right, and how do I start this, and how do I make it attention grabbing? How do I do a nice hook? And so sometimes that kind of gets in the way of me, cranking stuff out faster, which, so I guess that could also be something for me to work on, but I empathize with you in that way.
Yeah.
Because you just want it to be so good that you're proud of it. But no, that's awesome. And now you've grown to, you do Rentie's of Houston also, and then you do, most recently your Ambiance channel.
Yes, that's still a work in progress. But the Rentie's of Houston, that was a surprise. It kind of surprised me because as I was doing the Gearhead Lounge, every now and then, Sherry, your mother, Sherry and I would sit down. We'd have our discussions about stuff, about talking about the Bible or just life in general. And every now and then, I'd be like, man, I wish we would have recorded that. That would have made a good video.
That's how I feel about a lot of our family conversations.
Yeah, but then I'm like, I'm not gonna mention that to her because I'm sure she's not interested in. She's a private person, and I can respect that. And I'm a little less private. I'm like sometimes like, oh, look at this wart I got right here. See this YouTube? And sometimes we don't need to be like that, but sometimes I am like that. So I never really wanted to bring it up to her. And then one day she was like, we should make a YouTube channel. I'm like, what?
Your words, not mine.
Yeah. I'm like, come on now, we can do this. And so then we just started doing it. And we are at 104 subscribers.
Woo!
Oh, by the way, the Gearhead Lounge, it is at, it's like 11,000, almost 11,900.
Yeah.
We're knocking on the door, 12,000 subscribers. So that was God's blessing there.
Yeah, he's been working really hard on the channel for the past 4 or 5 years.
It's been a labor of love, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how it could be, and so now it's just like I really got to produce, and didn't know that was coming, but and then we doing. For some reason, I've started just working on the Ambiance channel, and I'm like, this can't be too hard. This can't be hard at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard.
For any listeners who don't know, the Ambiance channels are the ones where it maybe has an AI generated image of a coffee shop or a scene in the wilderness or outdoors or some landscape, and then there's maybe music in the background, maybe not, or you just have natural sound effects like running water, or if it's raining, or fire crackling, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
This was called PJR Vibes.
Yeah.
And so I have 2 videos now. I'm working. By the time you're watching this, I'll have my 3rd video done. It's a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And this one I put music to it.
Yeah.
So it's got some music going on in the background, and it is 8 hours long.
Wow. Yeah, so it's he puts out, the videos are several hours, so you can just have it running in the background if you maybe need some noise while you're studying or anything like that. So the ambiance channels are around to help relax people or give them something to help quiet their mind or whatever they need to do to de-stress. So yeah, so that is the 3 channels right there.
Yeah.
So then I want to ask you now, how would you say your creative pursuits glorify God? Because you're not explicitly talking about God or your faith in these channels, but how would you say that they're still glorifying Him?
Yeah, and it is interesting because sometimes people don't understand. They think in order to glorify God, you have to be out there. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He, and it's like, and it was interesting that when I was going to college, I was in an automotive program, and I was talking to one of the other students, and we were talking about, I just mentioned something about the Bible one time. The guy looked at me, he goes, "You're a Christian? I didn't think you were." And I'm like, "Really?" And then at the same time, the professor was right there, and he's like, "Of course he's Christian. Can't you see? This is, and I didn't think he knew anything about Christianity." He's like, it's like PJ has what you call a silent witness. Is that you look at how he lives his life, how he carries himself, and what he does and what he says, and you know that he knows the Lord. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, thanks. 18-year-old me said, thanks. But so the same things, we can glorify God without having to quote scripture. We can be scripture. Right. So it isn't that I'm glorifying God by putting Bible verses or anything out in my channel, but I can glorify Him just by not putting out hate. That was one thing I wanted for my first channel, the Garrett Lounge, is to provide a place of escape. Of refuge, just to get away from the craziness that was happening. Because I brought my channel out in 2019, and I had to really change gears in 2020 because I couldn't. Intended. Yeah, literally. See what I did there? Huh? And so I had to literally change gears. Huh? Because I couldn't go out to any car shows; they were all canceled because of the pandemic. So I glorify God by, at least in my opinion, by being a good example out there, by providing a place of refuge for other people, and by not disparaging other people for who they are, for what they do, for things like that, and just try to just be, and being that God made us in His image, He is the creator. So we have to be creative. I would think. So being creative, just the fact of being creative glorifies Him, because we are emulating our Father. Oh, exactly. I'd never heard that term silent witness before, but I like that. And then just obviously with me knowing PJ, that's 100% true. Like he's very good with people, so I was surprised to learn that he considers himself an introvert not too long ago. But it's true. Every day that we're out and about, like even if we're just driving to Buc-ee's or to the mall or to just somewhere to go out shopping, he and my mom will get out of the car and hold hands while they're walking through the store or whatever.
and they love each other well, and PJ just treats people well. Like, we'll get up to the cash register at the grocery store, and he'll be cracking jokes with the clerk and or doing something silly to make them smile or laugh. And so I just like little things like that. He'll just go out and make people's day, or I mean, I don't know if that makes their day, but at least it's something they can remember. Like, hey,
oh, that's a little bright spot,
Right, yeah.
Because Jesus commands us to love one another.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. You have to love one another.
Yeah.
I don't have to like you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to like what you do. But I don't have to disparage you.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not that I'm accepting who you are or accepting what you do or accepting what you say, but I am commanded to love you.
Mm-hmm.
And part of loving you is maybe helping you smile in the day.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going out and okay, I'm gonna make sure I love someone. Who am I gonna make laugh today?
Yeah.
I just try to be
in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I just try to be who I am, And the thing about an introvert is not that I'm like walking around like this. It's just when I know I have to quote unquote turn it up, I turn it up.
Yeah.
But it is extremely draining.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then I just don't want to use my brain at all.
Yeah.
It's hard to brain at the end of the day because I've had to turn it on. It was interesting because I used to teach too.
Yeah.
I used to be an auto shop teacher, and I would work all day and then leave work and then drive 20 miles to the other side of town and teach at a junior college for 3 hours.
Wow.
And but there's only 2 nights a week, thankfully.
Yeah.
But when you're done, your brain is. Oh
yeah.
I'm done.
I mean, y'all know I work with college students, so amen to all of that. Like, some days I come home, I'm like, I don't even want you to look at me, just.
Yeah. But see, also we glorify God in having patience with one another.
Yeah.
Because I could just as easily come home, no one talk to me.
Right.
PJ had a long day at work.
Right.
I mean, like right now I work, my job I do, it's not even car related, strangely enough. We work with insurance. And so I'm always talking to people. I part of my job is creating benefit guides for people. And so in fourth quarter, like in the first and second quarter, in a week we may have 2 or 3 guides to have done. And in the fourth quarter, it's like 10.
Wow. Yeah.
We easily have like 300 guides we still need to make before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And it becomes stressful. It just easily, it's like, no one talks to me. I don't want to talk to you. And I go snap at people. Why doesn't you? Why not? But part of being a follower of Christ and loving one another is we need to act like and emulate our Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are times he doesn't. He's like frustrated with us, or it's like, So it's not, and people who don't know the Lord think that God's just sitting there, just looking at the earth, trying to see who he can zap.
Yeah.
You're smoking.
Yeah.
Drinker.
You cuss them out.
Yeah. What are you doing? And God's not like that. He has patience.
Smite me, almighty smiter.
Right. It's crazy too because you know someone in real life who has done that.
Yeah.
Thinking that I'm an atheist, I'm going to show you, or now smite me. It's just like God's not sitting there going, oh, let me get him, let me.
Yeah.
He's not doing that.
Right.
He's having patience, and so we need to have patience with one another.
Yes.
So then there are times that we have our frustrating moments, and we need to just shut up, not say nothing.
Yeah.
Just let it roll.
Yeah.
and just go with the flow sometimes,
No, you're right.
Yeah, and but at the same time, don't let it sit inside you and fester.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I'll get them later.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to turn into cancer or something, and you don't want that.
No, that's a good point, because like naturally for me, when I'm upset, I turn inward. Okay, so I'm silent by default. And so for me, the challenge is opening up and sharing what's bothering me. So I don't walk around and just let it fester like you just said. And there's other people, maybe they're upset about something and they just let you have it, maybe you are that person, or maybe you're like me, if those of you watching or listening. And both of them are problematic because you unload your emotions on someone who didn't do anything to deserve it. And the other one, you're just hating everyone secretly and no one knows what's going on. So
low entirely.
So your point about just being patient with each other is really good.
The best thing that I ever did one time was in my previous marriage. I went to work, worked all day, came home, and the two children had a argument. And the argument ended up in the door to our bedroom being broken.
Oh, wow.
I was livid. I couldn't believe it, because first of all, it was a rented house. And this door everything was so unnecessary. I had to replace a door in the house, and I was extremely upset about it. I drove to Home Depot, miffed, livid. Can't believe this mess. Parked the car. Got out the car, walking in Home Depot. And as I'm walking to Home Depot, there's this woman who is struggling with something. It was a box, I forgot what she bought. It was something, it was huge. And she was small. And she was struggling to get this thing. It was almost as big as she was. Struggling to get this thing into her car. And I'm like, you need help. Yes, please, and so I went over there and I helped her, and I ended up just putting the thing in the car for her. So I helped her and I put it in the car for her, and it just, after I did that, it just felt like this huge, everything was just lifted off of me, and I instantly just felt better. I was happy again. The joy had returned, because I showed love to someone. When I was completely ticked off, over something, and and now looking back, and all that stuff is in the past, and the broken door. I mean, it doesn't really matter anymore. It's gone. I replaced the door and stuff, and but the fact is that I was able to let go of that anger and stuff. But I did it by showing love.
Yeah. Oh man, that's good. I know we kind of strayed off the path a little bit.
Oh yeah, I was creative in doing it.
No, I have no problem with that at all, because I love these conversations, and so I don't want them to be so rigid that it's like, okay, question number 1, all right, question number 2, question number 3, all right, thank you. So the next question I have for you though is, because we talked a little bit about being frustrated and taking that out on people. So tying that back to the subject at hand, how do you handle frustrations in your creative process? Like maybe times when the ideas aren't flowing as much as you'd want, or you're having just general time constraints with having a full-time job and doing YouTube. Like, how do you navigate those frustrations?
Oh gosh, I was thinking about this question. I'm like, like when I have frustrations, and like let's say I'm doing something for my channel, there's not necessarily a deadline.
Right.
So when I'm running into frustrations for that, there are times where I will just stop, take a break, and walk away, and come back the next day. Because a lot of times the next day you're able to kind of your brain will start sorting things out. And say, okay, let's get this right. You like, when you walk away and your brain is sitting there inside your mind is looking at this tangled knot of stuff. It's like, oh, okay, let's, and then by the time you get up in the morning, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I kind of learned that process when I was playing at church, when I played the piano at church, because I played by ear. So I would have to listen to the song over and over and over and just kind of okay, try and play that and stuff. And it's not that I was having a problem with the song, but if I listened to it for enough times, it just got to a point, if you say the word over and over and over again, it's like, like Viking.
It just starts to,
it's like...
I learned the term for that recently, but I can't remember what it is. Like, there's a word to describe that.
Yeah, so after a while, it stops making sense.
Yeah.
It stops making sense. So after a while, I'm playing the song, it's like, okay, this isn't working anymore. I just need to stop. So I'll stop, and I'll, come back the next day, and when I come back the next day, it's like the song is clear in my head. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, that sounds a lot better. That works really good. So it makes more sense. So now when I have my frustrations and I can't make sense of things, or I run into a dead end when I'm trying to do some research, I'll just stop for a minute.
Yeah.
And come back at it either later on that day or the next day. And then just start over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times when you have like a fresh mind, it helps.
Yeah.
But if I have a deadline and I don't have the luxury of walking away, sometimes I will just start just putting out information.
Yeah.
Because at least when I write, I don't know what you do, I try to form it in my head. I try to form the story or at least the progression in my head. And I want it to come out on the screen when I'm typing it the way it's in my head.
Yep.
And just make it flow. So when I'm done typing, it's done because it's how I want it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I can't, it just won't flow because I'm trying to, I got that knot in my brain.
Right.
I'm trying to make it work and it's not working. So, and I have a deadline, I gotta do something. So what I do, I'll just start just writing, just whatever the information is, whatever, order it's in, whatever it is, I'll just start putting it out.
Yeah.
And I'll just put the information out and just start filling up the paper with information, or the screen these days.
Yeah.
Fill up the screen with information.
Yeah.
And then once all the information is there, I'll just kind of take a look at it, and then I'll go back through, and then I'll start. Okay, well, this one this is a repeat of this, so I'll get rid of this, and I'll move this over here, and I'll put that there, and then after a while, I've realized that I've formed it back into the way I want it to be.
Yeah.
But thankfully there's not many deadlines these days.
Yeah, no, that's, I think, it seems like a lot of companies and just in general, deadlines are a little more relaxed than they used to be, just with COVID and all that. And, which is kind of nice in a sense. I guess it depends on the industry. It's like, I'm sure the finance industry, you still gotta be pretty rigid with those. But for like a writer or someone with who has some more creative liberties on their job, then deadlines are pretty flexible.
Yeah, I remember my last job before I came out here. I worked at this company called Classic Industries, and it was aftermarket restoration parts for classic cars. And we were having an open house, and last minute, Reggie Jackson showed up. And for those of you who don't know, Reggie Jackson is a famous baseball player. He's a home run hitter. He's known as, his nickname is Mr. October.
Oh, that's news to me.
Yeah, because we're talking the late 1900s. His big claim to fame was in the 1977 World Series against the Dodgers. He hit a record amount of home runs.
Wow.
And so that was his thing. He was a home run hitter. He was this big slugger. But he was also an avid car collector.
Yeah.
And we found out he was showing up. But it was that day was the day he was showing up. I was there. And I was the resident writer of the company. They're like, PJ, we need a press release right now.
Oh.
That Reggie Jackson's going to be here. I'm like, oh yeah, I got that. I didn't have time to just start forming stuff in my head. So I just blathered out the information, give me all the pertinent points, and what the significance is, and just put all that out together and then start tying it together.
Yes.
And so, had to quickly just blather out the information, look at it. What can I keep? What can I move? What can I add to it? And then start tying it together. It's like building a puzzle. Just throw all the pieces out there and then say, okay, well, this piece fits. Oh, this doesn't fit. Okay, this fits here. This fits. And next thing you know, you got a picture.
I'm working on a 1,000-piece puzzle right now. So that hits home. I hate writing that way. I know sometimes it's necessary, but it makes me feel so unorganized when I just have to get the thoughts out. I'm like, no, but I want it to come out like structured and orderly, and like sometimes it has to come secondary because you need to just get it out on paper first. And so I know for my creative process, I'm still working on loosening up in that area, but just in school they called it a mind dump, when you just get everything out on paper about the topic you're trying to put something together on. And after you've gotten all the thoughts out, then you can start organizing it into something usable. But
it's a good thing, when God created us, he formed man from the dust of the ground. Kind of like how when we were writing, we want to have the thoughts complete and then put it out while we're typing, and that's how you formed Adam. It's a good thing you didn't form us the other way.
Right.
I got these lungs. I know. Let's put them all. They fit right there. So, that looks crazy. Let's move that around. So I'm glad he didn't create us like that.
He put thought into us first.
Yeah.
And by the way, I was looking up the word while you were talking. Semantic satiation is the term.
Oh my gosh.
When you say a word and like Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
Like when a word just suddenly you're like, why is this a word? It doesn't make sense anymore. So semantic satiation.
Yes.
It's just a little fun fact there.
Like Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday Day.
Yeah. I still sound it out when I'm trying to write it. Okay, so that's like all the scripted questions I had, but I just wanted to make just kind of a comment overall. It's just really cool from my perspective to see our family just all creating like this, which again, thank you for starting that, because I think by us watching you, it gave us the courage to just try and be like, I think, let's do it. Because the order of in order of who started, it was PJ, and then my sister, who you'll hear from in the next episode, then my mom. It was me next, and then it was my mom. So gradually all of us made our way over to the creative space digitally. And if you look at all of our channels and everything that we're doing, it aligns perfectly with our personalities, I think.
I agree.
So it's really cool just to see us express ourselves through that medium. And with that, what advice would you give to someone who's wanting to put their work out there but is afraid of what people might think, or they're intimidated? What would you share with them?
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just get out there and do it. And the thing is that there's an audience for everybody. That I'm learning. There's an audience for everybody, and YouTube is big enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Just like how you might hear the saying that there's somebody for everybody.
Yeah.
like when you see that one guy who's really good looking, and then you look at the woman he's with, and you're like, really? Her? Well, but the thing is, I imagine that particular lady probably thought that she would never be with a very attractive man like that, and
or vice versa.
Yeah, maybe vice versa. And sometimes it's just it's that there's somebody who likes something about everybody, or however I say it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you are sitting there thinking, I got something I can do, but it's just not perfect yet, or no, just get out there and just start doing it, because that's the best way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I used to have a lecture when I was teaching in auto shop. We would talk about careers, and I'd talk about the different types of careers that are out there, other than being just a technician or a mechanic or a wrench or on cars, because that's what a lot of people thought. That's all the automotive industry was about. And I'm like, well, no, I mean, you got businesses you got to run. You got people who are writing catalogs. You got people who are accountants who are doing the accounts receivable, accounts payable. There are people who have counselors in their companies and all that stuff. And I'm like, you have to, and I'm like, how do you know what field you want to pursue?
Right.
Get out there and start working. Because you don't know. You may start doing something that you think you like, and after you're doing it, you're like, I really don't like this.
Yeah.
That gives you, okay, now you know what you don't like. Just like when I started college, my major at first was mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
After one semester, I'm like, I do not like that.
Right. Yeah.
There's too much mathing involved.
Yeah.
I barely made it through math in high school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I gotta do calculus and trigonometry and all that stuff. No, we're not doing that. So I changed it to industrial arts. I can work with my hands and do this and blah blah. Talk to cavemen and stuff. And that was the fun stuff.
Yeah.
And so get out there, do it. Because you never know where God's going to lead you.
Right.
God is waiting for us to get out there, take that leap of faith. There's a movie out there, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yep.
And there
was
was
that the third one? The second?
Yeah, third one.
Okay.
Third one where with Sean Connery in it. And there was the part where he had to go through these 3 trials in order to get the Holy Grail to help save his father. And it was only a penitent man can pass, a man with repentance, leap from the lion's head, and know the name of Christ, know the name of God. And the one that stuck with me was leap from the lion's head, because only a penitent man can pass was he had to crawl through this space. And if he wasn't bowing his head, he was going to get his head chopped off. But he figured it out at the very last minute. And the second one was leap from the lion's head. And so he crawled through this space and came out of this opening. And above him, right here, was a statue of a lion. But looking forward was this open chasm. It was just nothing, big crevasse, and then something over on the other side where he needed to be. Where he's sitting there and he's just like, where do I go? How do I get across here?
Yeah.
And he goes, leap from the lion's head, leap from the lion's head. Okay, the lion's head right here is leap from the lion's head. And it's a leap of faith. And he just stuck his foot out there and stepped. And then when he stepped, he kind of teetered for a second because he hit something. And then the camera changes perspective, and you realize there was a walkway across the chasm, but you couldn't see it looking straight on.
Okay, wow.
And so that's how God takes us through our leaps of faith. It's like sometimes we just take a leap when we can't see anything, but God puts something out there for us to land on. So if you are looking to be a content creator and you're thinking you need to have it all buttoned up before you get started, like, I got to have an expensive camera and I have to have the big mic and all that and stuff like that. No, just if you don't have all that, don't let that stop you. Just jump out there. Yeah. Use your phone. If you're watching this on YouTube, chances are you're using your smartphone. Yeah. Use that camera on your smartphone. she's using her smartphone right now.
Yep, spoiler alert.
Yeah, right? Get out there
Yeah.
and put your best foot forward. And, your very first video is not going to be great.
Yeah.
Put it out there. There are going to be people who are going to love it. So, yeah. So there is an audience for everybody.
It's for real. I mean, yeah, because there's been some, I mean, and I know I'm kind of just getting started with my channel, but there's been people on YouTube I've watched, and I'll see some stuff and I'm like, how do they have that many subscribers? And it's like, not that the content is horrible or anything, it's just kind of like, wow, it looks very not thought out. And so, and then meanwhile you have other channels that are just really good. The quality of the content is high, and you can tell they put a lot of work into it, but they maybe have fewer followers than the other channel. And it's like, something's not, the math isn't mathing.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of factors that come into play. I mean, most of the channels I see now that have like millions of views or millions of subscribers or hundreds of thousands, they've been at this for 12, 13, 14 years. Like, I'll go to their about section on the channel and we'll see that they joined in 2008 or 2007 or something.
Right.
And so it's a grind for sure. And I know for this last week, or not the last episode with my mom, and then now this one with PJ, and then with my sister later on, we're all content creators. We're all in the digital space. Okay, so that's what we know best. But this really applies to anything. Like if you wanted to step out and share your talents or your gifts, your creative ability with someone, maybe you make quilts, or maybe you paint things, maybe you want to write a book, or you are a good chef and you want to cook things and share. Maybe you have a dream of starting a restaurant. Whatever it is, there's so many ways to be creative. And we encourage you, as PJ and I, just to go out there and do it. Just start. Start small. Start, if you have a recipe you've been wanting to try and you just have some friends or family you can share it with, let them have it, and then get their feedback on what you could improve and keep going from there. Make little adjustments. But it's at the heart of creating, we want to do it with a pure heart. Just do it for the right reason. Do it to glorify God and to use what He's given you, and it should be fun. Like it shouldn't stress you out trying to create stuff. It should be an escape. It should be a way of like a release. It should be a way for you to channel your thoughts, your ideas, your perspective. So
don't do it for the money.
Right.
I mean, in the end, it'll be great. It's great
to
have money coming in from that. Yeah. But if you're trying to do it strictly for the money, nothing's going to work right, because all you're looking at is the money coming in,
right?
And it's not going to come in fast enough.
Yes.
In the end, like she said, it's got to be you got to have a pure heart. You got to, like we always talk about, asking for the butter.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, from asking for the lab. There's a TV show called Studio 60 out there, and it's their take on behind the scenes of a late night variety show like Saturday Night Live. It was called Studio 60, and there was one time where one of the cast members asked the head writer, and she goes, well, during the rehearsal, when I did this particular sketch, I got a bigger laugh than when I got from when we did the recorded version. What did I do different? And he goes, well, in the rehearsal, you asked for the butter. But in the recorded live one, you ask for the laugh. So what you need to do, ask for the butter.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at life sometimes. It's like when you're asking for the butter, you're being genuine. When you're asking for the laugh, you have an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
So always ask for the butter, be genuine. And you made me think of when Jesus fed the 5,000, the 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread.
Yeah.
Jesus was like, we need some food. Who has food? I do. What do you got? 2 fish and 5 barley loaves of bread. Because we can't feed anybody all that. What's this? Just this for you. We have 5,000 people. Jesus didn't do that. He was like, he's the master creator, so he can take what you have and see the way the scripture is, it makes you think that what the boy brought is insignificant.
Right.
2 fish, 5 loaves of bread. That was his lunch, right? So if he was a boy, let's say he was 12 or 13.
Yeah.
It's not like he had these 2 giant tunas and, these big loaves of bread. He probably had just a couple of fish, probably just some fillets, about like that big. Just 2 little fillets and, some little biscuits.
Yeah.
Jesus can take what we bring to the table and he can multiply it. And he can bring an audience. You have your little channel where you're like, I'm going to show you how to cook bacon and eggs. A lot of people are like, oh, I know how to cook bacon and eggs. Well, you make your channel, make your video, you cook the best bacon and eggs you can cook. And there are going to be some people who are like, you know what? That was the best bacon and eggs that I've ever seen. I'm subscribing.
Yeah.
People are out there. Jesus can take the little thing that you have and he can multiply it into thousands.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that was good. Yeah, when you mentioned the Jesus feeding 5,000, I was like, I don't know where this is going, but I'll listen. Yeah.
If they didn't come someplace crazy.
Yeah, I know.
And then that's when all the cats came down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're done.
I know. Cut.
Yeah. Got to edit all of this out.
Oh man. Well, thank you, PJ, for your insights and just sharing with us your journey through content creation and just how you got to be where you are today. Excuse me.
Thank you.
I got excited, almost choked on my words. And thank you guys for listening and or watching, depending on what you're doing. So again, for reference point, PJ's channels are the Gearhead Lounge. That's his car channel. There's PJR Vibes, which he just started. That's the Ambiance channel. And then there's the Renties of Houston, which features my mom and PJ. And it's
you guys.
Yeah, and occasionally us, me and my sister, as they vlog different activities in the lives of the Renties. And of course, there's my channel, Life at Peace, and you can catch this on YouTube. If you're already watching, you're already here. Otherwise, if you want the audio only, it's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But thank you again, PJ, and please go give him a follow, give him some subscribers, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.